Veli's teleporting was quite different to Ari's, though I suppose Ari's method of holding space couldn't possibly be that common. Veli's jumps were disorienting in a different way than Ari's as well, but I didn't get as violently ill as I did when teleporting with Ari. We stepped out into a narrow alley where the others were waiting for us nearby. Caleb was standing away from the others, speaking to someone in their communication system.
It appears Magnus and Kesa have located this Brennan person already. He's not exactly hiding where he is. And how the hell did he get so many people?
He has people with him?
Espers. They're rioting in a business district. The hell is this maniac planning?
Yeah, well, we don't know either. Is it possible he managed to gather so many people so fast? After my attack on him, I thought we had severed his links with everyone.
It's possible you only severed the links with his latest targets. He's clearly been gathering people for some time.
That was true, but... ugh, there were too many unknowns about him.
Don't blame yourself, Morgan.
I won't.
Come on, we're moving out. What kind of bastard did you find? He found us, not the other way around. What's going on? He's holed himself up in some building down in the business district, and his people are outside keeping everyone away. We sent our standby teams in to clear out the civilians, and the bishop already took a mind bomb. He's laced the area with them. The tower says there is massive psionic pressure building there.
The tower? Ah, Corsolaris. Okay, gotcha.
What's he doing, Caleb? Scion flare. We think.
Eh? A devastating psi-based attack that targets people with weaker psi signals than the person initiating the attack. This level of psychokinetic ability is extremely rare, and only one Esper in history has been capable of unleashing this destructive power. Because there is only one Scion flare on record, it's not well understood how they work or the exact physiological impact. Records indicate that previous victims had fused synapses, and their carimbus occultatum nuclei clusters were completely obliterated, destroying their phoric systems. Most of these victims did not survive the attack. Okay.
A Scion flare? Really? We have to get to him right away.
Wait, what's a Scion flare?
It is a large-scale mental attack. We'll all be targets, but any non-Espers in the vicinity will take the worst of it.
How large scale?
It's difficult to say. None of us have ever witnessed one. We learned about it at the academy. There's only ever been one recorded, and it was a hell of a long time ago.
Like 21st century long time ago? Okay, no, it was since coming to Arcalis, apparently.
That one killed every non-Esper in an entire sector.
Given Brennan's dislike for non-Espers, that didn't seem unreasonable for him.
The rebound is severe. He'll probably take massive damage as well. Maybe even die.
We have to stop him.
That's a given. Well, I don't know about the rest of you, but I don't really give a shit what happens to the assholes in this city.
The deal Kesa made with Magnus hinged on us helping shut this down, didn't it?
It appears so. What's the game plan? We need to take out the people helping him and evacuate as many citizens as possible. Evacuation may not be possible. Then we need to get them as far from the epicenter as possible. At the very least, the further they are, the less the damage will be. There are thousands of people. I know that! We have to do what we can, and we don't have much time.
I should try to stop him.
What the hell are you talking about?
The easiest way to solve the problem is to stop it at its source. We can focus on evacuating people all we want, but if we stop Brennan, there's no need to evacuate them in the first place.
You can't...
Is there anyone else who can, then?
How can you be sure you can even get to him?
I can.
Morgan.
Jack, I have to do this.
This is exactly the sort of thing I didn't want you to have to do.
I know, but I'm not being thrown away or forced into it. This is my choice.
I'll go with you then.
I figured.
Oh, you two are sickening. But I'll go with you. Same.
Alright. Double date it is. Let's go. I thought you didn't care what happened to the people in this city.
If Case is said to do it, I'll do it. Besides, Sylvia will be with him, yeah? I'll handle her.
Are you sure?
Jack already hates me, newbie queen. If I take care of his sister, he can be angry at me all he wants, and I don't care. If you go up against her, well, it's better this way. No reason to cause friction between you two.
Veli, you're a good man.
And I know he won't be able to do shit against her.
So that's decided.
We can handle the civilians and people outside. In any case, I'm useless against that guy, as we saw last time. Let's go. We're already running out of time.
The Endgame teams left first, and the rest of us took a minute to decide how we were going to approach this.
Well, what's the plan? How do we get to this guy?
It's not like we can't sense where he is. There was a massive psi presence nearby. Massive enough I didn't even need my sphere to feel it prickling at the edge of my mind.
Okay, but how...
We just teleport in.
Gosh, why didn't we think of that? He has a reverse cage up.
I'm certain I can get through it.
What makes you so sure?
Because he wants me to. The others were silent a moment. I half expected an argument, but this is what we had come to do. There was no argument to make.
You're going to have to get the rest of us in. I'm not sure I can blow past his shield like you can.
Then everyone get close. It's not far, so I'm pretty sure I can do it. But this brand of teleportation is rough the first time through. So how did Jack... Oh, of course, Jack probably has dealt with Ari's teleportation before, so maybe that's why he wasn't affected by it. That would make sense. They shuffled closer, and for a split second I let Brennan's location solidify in my mind. Well, this is a nice place. And seconds later, we were there. It took a moment to get our bearings. Belly and Rowan were struggling with the queasiness that came with the first jump, but Jack had experienced it before. He seemed fine. I spotted Brennan straight away. He was just sitting on a table at the other side of the room, expression calm. Like, literally on the table? Sylvia was next to him, watching us with those eerie eyes. There were two others near the door behind us. Brennan met my eyes and smiled.
I knew you'd come.
Wasn't that the plan all along?
Obviously so. This isn't something I'd want you to miss.
For all that he looked like he was just sitting there waiting on us, the entire building was thrumming with his psi energy. Where we were standing was like the eye of a storm, and beyond it was a maelstrom of psi that was building in intensity. But beside me, Jack wasn't paying attention to that. His gaze was trained on the woman beside Brennan. He was almost trembling with rage at the sight of them together.
How the hell did you get your hands on Sylvia? Oh? You know her?
He glanced at the woman beside him with mild curiosity, then back at Jack.
She's my sister, you bastard!
An odd expression passed over Brennan's face before his brows drew together in a dark frown.
What are you upset about? I didn't kill her myself. I picked her up in a lab I destroyed.
Okay. So she's dead.
Her body was already broken and was preserved in a cryo tube there. I'm the one who revived her. If you want to be angry, shouldn't you be angry at Nyx? Those bastards killed her, and no matter how many times I try to crush them, they always come back. Like roaches. That's why I thought I'd take a more straightforward approach this time.
So he really revived her. I glanced Jack's way. His jaw was working.
Let her rest. Unfortunately, I still need her.
He didn't make any gestures, but he must have communicated something to the others in the room. because they all moved together. Sylvia vanished, only to reappear directly in front of Jack. He had a fraction of a second to block the attack, which he barely managed before Veli stepped in. With the two near the door jumping in, though, Jack was still occupied with defending himself. None of them touched me, though. Instead, Brennan looked at me with mild amusement. It's like, so while the kids are playing, why don't you and I have a chat?
Now, we can talk.
I feel like we've already talked quite a bit.
I can attack you if you prefer, but that might cause more casualties than you're interested in seeing, and I don't want to harm my own people.
Then why are you forcing so many people to fight for you?
Many of them would if I told them to or not. Some have been with me a long time. A few can no longer be disconnected. It's not something I intended. But you should know there is sometimes fallout we can't control.
You can control this. You can control what you're doing right now, Brennan. I don't want to fight you. You don't have to do this.
People rarely have to do the things they do. I just thought it would be nice if at least one of us got to live freely.
Why do you care enough about that to do this? Risking your lives and countless others.
Well, there are a lot of reasons. I can send a lot of messages this way. And I'm tired.
You don't have to be a villain here. In an instant, Brennan was in front of me, and before I could react to what I expected to be an attack, he touched my cheek with surprising gentleness and smiled.
It's a shame I didn't meet you sooner. But now it's time for you all to leave.
He held a hand out and flung me towards the others as his people retreated. I slammed into Veli, coming close to taking us both down, but none of us were able to retaliate. Brennan's people retreated behind a shield put up by Sylvia. I staggered back up and threw myself at the shield to no avail. Veli was the first to fire a psi burst, and I followed suit, echoing the power and strength of his. Neither had a damaging effect on the shield. I didn't know if it was Brennan's or Sylvia's, or both, but we didn't even scratch it. The psi pressure was building exponentially. Though at first it had felt like we were in the calm of the storm, now it was pushing against me like a physical force. Now what? He was shielded from us and Sylvia was with him. Could I teleport into the shield with him? And then? Try to take him out before they took me out? It might be the only way. I was startled out of my thoughts when Jack grabbed my arm, pulling me closer to him.
Morgan, what are you doing? We have to get out of here! I don't know what the hell he's planning, but this isn't just some kind of Scion flare.
The air was practically crackling with psi energy. We can't leave like this! We have to stop him! He clutched me by the arms.
Morgan! You can't save everyone. Not every time.
What about Sylvia? She's in there with him!
No. No, she's not. Morgan, I lost her a long time ago.
Wow, Jack has got some strength to admit to that. Not a lot of people would be that rational.
You're still here. I can't lose you too.
I glanced back at the shield, and just beyond the haze of blue, I saw Sylvia. For a split second, our eyes met. The light in hers flickered, and a soft voice brushed against my mind, whispering something I felt more than heard. Then she was gone, heading back for Brennan. There's still a little bit of her in there. Not enough to be alive. But she was a strong queen. I couldn't let him do this. Even if he wanted to be the villain for my sake or the court. For whatever reason, I couldn't let him do this. But stopping him might be beyond me. So I had to try to mitigate the damage. Let's go. I grabbed Veli and got the four of us the hell out of there. I didn't take us far away, less than a block from the building. Wrenching myself from the others, I stared at the restaurant down the street. Not the restaurant itself, no. I was looking at that massive buildup of sharp-edged psi. Endgame was trying to get civilians away, but it was difficult to say what the range of the Scion flare would be. And the only thing I could think of that might have the potential to defuse it from out here would be...
Morgan, what are you doing?
I have an idea. I'm not sure it'll work, but I'm going to see if I can soften the damage from what Brennan is trying to do. Maybe lessen the radius.
You can't.
He stopped, clenching his jaw as he stepped back.
Do what you need to do. We'll make sure no one touches you.
Thanks. I shut my eyes and held my hands out in front of me, knowing I had little time. The most I could do was try to blanket as much of the area in my own psi as possible. It wouldn't be a shield, more like a cushion. Something to disperse the impact of Brennan's psi and disrupt its structure. I had no idea if it would work. I had no idea if something like this was possible. I wasn't sure I would withstand it. But I had to try. If it was possible to lessen the damage even a little, save even one life, then it would be worth it. Psi for me was an ever-present energy that flowed from somewhere deep inside. That was how I visualized it anyway. How much Psi I possessed was difficult to pinpoint. It wasn't something I'd thought about. But now I was contemplating how I could blanket an entire city block with it. Like caging the area and flooding it with my Psi energy to act as a buffer when Brennan released his. And that's exactly what I did after surrounding the dense kernel of Psi Brennan was forming. He had to be aware of it, but there was no reaction within their shield, which I could still sense. The only thing left was to pack as much Psi energy as possible within the cage before he... An explosion rocked the ground, sending me to my knees.
Morgan!
He was at my side, wrapping an arm around me as I tried to maintain focus on my cage and Psi... blanket. The psionic shock wave slammed into it a few seconds later, sending a jolt through my body. I was left gasping for air, but wasn't hurt. My head was ringing after taking the full brunt of that, but... the shock wave dissipated greatly after interacting with my Psi. I think... I did it. In the distance, there was smoke curling into the dim sky, an indication I hadn't been able to completely contain that. I couldn't help but wonder how many civilians got caught in it. Hopefully none. Or if there were any, I hoped their injuries weren't severe. The so-called Queen's Guard caught up to us a few seconds later. The air twisted and they were there. I tensed, half expecting them to attack, but of course they didn't.
The hell just happened? Don't ask us. Newbie Queen over here pulled some weird shit and contained the bulk of that Scion flare, it seems.
Caleb and the others shared a look.
We felt your Psi energy, but weren't sure what you were doing.
Try to contain and disperse that shockwave.
With your own Psi?
Something like that.
You lucked out then, because it seems like it worked. That flare was a hell of a lot weaker than expected. And it looks like you all got out of that building just in time. Bastard coupled some kind of Psi burst with that and destroyed that restaurant and some of the surrounding buildings. Until they put the fire out, we won't know for sure, but it could have been a cover for him and his people to get out of there. Including your sister.
Emotionless as he was, even he stumbled over the mention of Sylvia, huh? He's not emotionless, take that back. What about civilians?
We were able to clear more of the area, but there were some stragglers. No casualties yet, but it'll take some time to figure out the radius of that flare. You weakened it a lot, so even if it went beyond your cage, I think we'll find everyone is treatable.
Thank God. I didn't know if my strategy was that effective, or if... maybe Brennan never really wanted to hurt people in the first place, no matter what he made it look like. In fact, I was certain that it worked only because Brennan allowed it to. Though I didn't say that out loud.
If you're trying to convince our council they should leave you alone, dealing with something we couldn't handle isn't the way to do it.
The fact I stopped something you couldn't should be a message to your council to leave me alone.
If not because they're worried about her, then because they should worry about the court. Unlike your council, we value her as more than just a cannon.
So, do we keep fighting? Do you keep trying to arrest me?
No. Though I kind of want to punch that stupid guy's face. Magnus is recalling the guard. Seems like that agreement he and your boss came to involved a reprieve. At least for now.
I wondered what Kesa promised them to get that. Indeed.
Our cleanup crews will still be in the area for some time. I believe it would be best to avoid friction and remove yourselves from the area. We also cannot keep the media out, and I doubt any of you want to be seen. We'll get back to Chestershire. That would be wise. And for the record, Leone, your taste in men is shit.
Thanks, didn't ask. Even Ari? Damn! These guys were such good friends. It makes me sad.
It does leave something to be desired.
There was a smirk on Caleb's face when he said it. And though Ari was expressionless as usual, I got the feeling they were both teasing. Jack rolled his eyes but looked almost amused. They turned away then, heading back towards the cafe. Caleb started talking to what I assumed was the rest of their group over the comm channels. It looked like they had loose ends to tie up before they left. I stared at the smoke coiling into the sky. Brennan. I wondered if he and the others made it out or not. A few feet from me, Jack was also staring that direction. I went to him and put a hand on his arm. Jack, are you okay? After a beat, he turned to me. I saw in an instant that he was not, but he swallowed hard and gave me a faint smile.
As long as you're okay, I'm okay.
He pulled me into a tight hug.
Looks like it's over. For now.
I'm glad. I'm really glad. And I was, but I also really wished we'd been able to save everyone.
Now let's get our asses back to Chestershire and let Endgame clean up this mess here. I want to find out from Kesa what this agreement he made entails.
So do I. And I think a call home is long, long overdue for me. Especially if Mum ends up seeing me fight Esper zombies on the evening news. Jack laughed softly, and keeping his arm around me, we went to join the others to retreat and finally get some much-needed rest.